Yeah.
You want to like him, but you can't.
Are you listening?
What?
Are you listening?
Did you bring me on this show to insult me?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Hey, y'all don't want it with us, man. You straight gangsters over here,
Straight
man.
gangsters. Yeah, good morning. It is Wednesday, October 24th, and you are listening to the Scout Team bringing you Scout Team Sports. I am one of your gracious and probably the best co-host of this show. They call me Loudbeard.
You are the most egotistical, self-deluded person I have ever met.
Yeah, I would say that's a good analysis. And the man on the other microphone, he is the great patriot. He loves Russia just as much as he loves America, but we decided to call him
Yeah, it's your boy, Chris America, coming to you live this Tuesday. No, it's Wednesday morning. It is a Wednesday morning, October 24th. And Loudbeard, I think I am probably, if I'm doing my numbers correctly of all the co-hosts we have, I think I'm the sixth best co-host we've had so far on this show.
Yeah. I mean, you're pretty close up there. I mean, maybe
We'll
fifth.
just call it top 10. Top 10
top 10.
co-hosts.
Top 10. Hashtag top 10. That's a good analysis there, Chris America.
Yeah,
and you know,
that's
I
what
did the
bring,
same thing.
hard-hitting analysis.
Analysis. Weird word.
Analysis.
So, you know, I was sitting here this morning looking at the date on the computer, and I'm like, is today Tuesday or is today Wednesday? Is today Tuesday or is it Wednesday? I couldn't remember. So I'm glad you said that, like, oh, today's Wednesday, because I was doing the same thing. The whole week is becoming a blur. So much stuff going on in the world of sports. So many things just going on in the world. And the Scout Team is hot every morning, weekdays, Monday through Friday. And it could be a Tuesday or a Wednesday. We don't even know because we're on every day. So keep checking us out on 12ouncesportsradio.com. And we love doing what we do. And what part of what we do is talking about sports, is talking about all the great stuff going on. And right now, World Series Game 1 is in the books. We've got fallout from the big fight the other night in the NBA. Rondo with the big denial of the spitting allegations that were put on him by Chris Paul. So we've got a lot to dive into there. Tons of NBA action. Some bad stories going on with some, I guess, athletes that may have been doing some bad things. So we're going to get into all of this. But Chris America, let's start it out with the World Series, because that, to me, is the headliner. What did you think of that game last night? I thought that was a great way for us to get started into this series. What do you think?
Yeah, it was a lot of back and forth, and it reminded me of some of the games that we saw between the Red Sox and the Astros, where it was back and forth, and then finally the Red Sox put some players on the base, put some men on base, and then they just crank out a home run, and they just blow open the score, and they don't look back.
Yeah, the Red Sox look like a scary team. Going into this, I thought this was going to be a really good pitching duel. You had Chris Sale and Clayton Kershaw both up there, and I don't think either of them looked bad. But the problem is both of these teams right now, their hitting is just, it's on fire. So you're going up against the ace of each of these teams, but the bats are on fire, so the bats are the ones that are winning. Neither of these guys get through the fifth inning. They both get pulled basically at the same time because these managers, they're ready to go to the bullpen early. They're ready to try to keep this lead under wraps. And, you know, it's like 3-3 there in the fifth, and then it ends up being 5-3. Boston takes the lead. I don't know, man. This was a good game because it was back and forth. There wasn't a whole lot of moments in this game where I thought, okay, one team's going to pull away, another team's going to pull away, until the seventh inning where the Red Sox, they make a ballsy move. They bring in Eduardo Nunez as a pinch hitter, and he gets a 3-run home run, which basically buries the Dodgers at that point. the Dodgers had very little life left in them to come back and really give this a shot. So this is game one. It's in Boston, and I expected the Red Sox to win. I knew they were going to come out. The crowd there, they were just electric. The Green Monster, it looked like it was gobbling up Dodgers players left and right. It was a great game to watch, and what I thought was going to happen was the Red Sox were going to win. We talked on yesterday's show quite a bit about how we feel like the Red Sox are the team of destiny. They've had the great season. They seem like they're the hot team right now, and I don't think they're going to be stopped. But with that being said, the Dodgers have to come out tomorrow, and they gotta get a win. They can't go down 2-0 because that will be the kiss of death. So they've got to come back, and they've really got to lay it on Boston on the next game here. They've got to come out with their best stuff. What do you think? You think Dodgers can counterpunch?
Well, Loudbeard, first, can you hit me with a idiot sandwich? I need to gulp down another one.
An idiot sandwich.
You didn't think I'd be that ready, did you?
I didn't think you'd be that ready, but I'm glad you are. You're the best producer on the show, and I need
far.
an idiot sandwich because yesterday I gave you a whole evaluation speech on this World Series based on the fact that last night's game was going to be played in L.A. I don't even know what made me think that last night's game was being played in L.A. I really have no excuse for it, but now I'm flipping it. It's a little bit different. It makes it a little bit easier for the Dodgers to drop game one, but now it makes winning game two just as vital as I said it was in yesterday's show. They got to beat up Price. They have to get a win here. They have to make it to where they can go into Dodger Stadium with a 1-1 tie, and then all they need to do is just get one more win at Red Sox Stadium or in Boston, and they can have a chance to win this. If they can't win tonight, it's the same thing I said yesterday, no matter where the series was played. If they go down 2-0, it's a little bit easier to overcome when you're going back for 3 games, but then you have to win all 3 of those games to give yourself a shot.
And how the Red Sox have been playing, I think it would be a monumental feat to be able to go 3-0 at home for the Dodgers. I just think this is going to be such a crucial game for them. You fall the first game, which, hey, that happens, no big deal, but it's how the Dodgers react that will be the telltale sign of if they're ready to win the World Series. And if it can come back and they can, knock the Red Sox down a peg here in the second game of the series and maybe squeak out a win in Boston and then go back home, it's a different story then, because then you have 3 games in L.A., and that's when you have all the momentum. I'm hoping for a 7-game series. I don't know if this is me being a selfish sports fan or me being a selfish sports analysizer, because that's a word. I don't know what it is, but I love when these series go to Game 7s. I want this to be a back and forth, 1-1, 2-1, 2-2, 2-3, 3-3. I want it to go back and forth, and I want to see that. I don't want to see a sweep. I don't want to see a gentleman's sweep. I don't want to see any of these things. I want to see this series go back and forth. I want to see both Sale and Kershaw pitch again. I want to see the best stuff from both of these teams. And this right now is the best time of year for baseball. We are in a great time where we have a lot of college football going on. We have a lot of pro football going on. We have basketball going on. We have hockey going on. But none of them right now are at their apex of their season. And right now we are with the World Series and in Major League Baseball. And all the stars are out there. You're seeing some of these guys really show up. And one of the guys that I think is maybe a little bit more of an under-the-radar star is this guy, Andrew Benintendi. He is the same guy that caught that miraculous catch to end the game when the Red Sox were battling against the Astros, and the Astros had bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th, and he's the guy that made that catch. He comes in Game 1. This was his debut in a World Series, and he gets 4 hits for the Red Sox. He is the first player in World Series debut to get 4 hits since 1954. I'd say that's a pretty good accomplishment. That's just another weapon for the Red Sox. I mean, the Red Sox are just on fire with their bats, like I had said, but Benintendi, he is looking good, and it's awesome to see these young guys come out here and really making a difference. And that's on top of all the other superstars that are on the Red Sox, your J.D. Martinez's, your Xander Bogaerts. I mean, these are guys, Mookie Betts. These are just all world guys, and you have other guys contributing. Man, it's just fun to watch. It's absolutely fun to watch, Chris America.
Well, you're mentioning all these great names, and they're all fine and good, but you're missing out on the one that I think has been most pivotal, most vital to this run, and that is, of course, Washington Nationals legend Alex Cora. I mean, he has just made one great decision after another great decision. His managing has been great. You mentioned the pinch hit in the 7th inning. That was the huge difference. I mean, to make that move in the World Series takes some good cojones, and Cora shows that he has the decision-making it takes to win a World Series. I mean, that's what the biggest difference in World Series games is when to pull your pitcher, when to put in a pinch hitter, when to put in a pinch runner, when to steal a base, because every single decision in the World Series is under a microscope. It's blown up to much larger proportions. We saw it with Madden, Joe Madden over in the Cubs, and how people were criticizing him back and forth for all of his moves during his World Series run, but he made all the right moves that won it, and it was all the moves that got him criticized, but it's also the moves that won him the World Series. And we're seeing Jose Cora, or no, it's Alex Cora. His first name is really Jose, but yeah, so he is just making all the right moves, man.
Fooled you. He's one of those guys that has 7 first
Two names. Well, his middle name is Alexander.
5.
Yeah.
He's got as many names as LeBron James has championships in Miami.
He's one of those guys that goes by his middle
4,
name. The only time
6.
I ever heard my middle name was when I was in trouble.
Yeah, those are bad times, aren't they?
Christopher United States, get over here.
I knew that was your middle name. You got 2 middle names, United and States.
It's hyphenated.
America.
It's really of America.
Cora's been an amazing manager, and every time they pan to him, he just looks like he's got this like stoic look to him. He looks like he is in the game. He's not getting emotional, and he's so focused. I don't know. It's just super impressive. Every time I see him, I'm like, this guy, he's got it together. I mean, he's had big shoes to fill in Boston, always big expectations over there. And, I mean, this has been a magical season. And if they're able to cap it off, this is going to be one for the record books. This is going to be a season that Boston Red Sox fans, I hope that they appreciate what they're getting right now because, one, you get all these championships in the NFL because you have your Tom Brady and your New England Patriots, so you're already selfish on that end. And now you're getting the greatness here with the Boston Red Sox. Boston is a great sports town. This is right now the prime of Boston sports life, and the Red Sox are just giving their fans a show each and every night. So, man, I'm with you. All is good in the World Series, and we're going to have a lot to report on the World Series coming up here. But there's some other stuff going on in the world.
I do want to say the Red Sox will appreciate what they have here until they feel like he doesn't win them any games anymore, and they'll fire him like they did the last manager who won them a World Series in 2013.
Yeah, Terry Francona.
I mean, that's why Alex Cora is here, is because the Boston Red Sox stop appreciating what Francona brought to the table, and then they let him go. But, hey, that's the world of managing and coaching in sports today, and right now the move is paying off for them.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's job is ever safe in sports. They make so much money that sometimes you don't feel bad for them getting fired. It's not like making minimum wage, but like these guys, you can make one bad decision, you could lose one game, you could whatever it is, and these guys could be out. They're almost like mercenaries sometimes. I don't think teams have as much loyalty as they should, and Boston's one of those teams. It's just expectations are always through the roof. All right, moving forward, Chris America. I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple days now. I think we've glanced over it the other day just a little bit, but there was a super fight the other day in the NBA. And
Brawl for it all.
Brawl for it all. And the fallout seems to continue.
The Royal Rumble.
It seems like it just continues to be a conversation going on right now in the sports media. And I know that you had a hot take the other day that we need to bring back fighting to the NBA.
We
so
do.
You need to talk about this a little bit. You want to tell our listeners and our fans why you think fighting should be brought back to the NBA?
Listen, when I was a kid, and pull around your chairs, children, I'm going to tell you an old man story about how Grandpa Chris America, when he was a kid, he used to watch a fiery, competitive, no-nonsense NBA. I used to watch Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time, get into scraps with all kinds of players, whether it was Dennis Rodman, Charles Barkley, his best friend, Larry Bird, whoever. Larry Bird, man. Larry Bird held his own in some of the best scraps I've ever seen. He's taken clotheslines. He's given clotheslines. It was amazing. And now we have this sort of, hey, let me pat you on the butt. Good job, buddy. Like, let me sign my jersey and hand you mine and yours. I guess that's more of an NFL thing, but it's sort of this banana boat.
NBA, don't they
Oh,
hand
do
each
they
other
do
their
shoes
shoes,
now?
sneakers? Yeah. Oh, you can have my sneakers.
Right, yeah.
Game sneakers.
Here,
Yeah,
let me
go for it.
sign my sneakers, and you give them to your,
Don't mind the
your
stank.
auntie or something. Yeah, don't mind the stank. Yeah, it's just kind of like a let's give each other hugs, and then hey, you good for the banana boat this weekend? I'm good if you're good. Let's do it.
And that banana
it's
boat will
just-
never die.
Banana boat will never die. That's the NBA we have now, and like I think LeBron James is tough, and I would assume he would win in a good fight against some players. But I want to see it. I want to see LeBron James scrap. I want to see what kind of haymakers he can throw, and we just don't get that anymore. Now we have players. What do we get? Like 3 to 4 games suspended per player in that fight.
Yeah, there was a varying suspensions, but I think it was a 2-game for Paul, 3-game for Rondo, and 4-game for Ingram, if I remember correctly. I'd have to go back and look at the official review, but 2, 3, 4 games on this one.
Yeah. So for the longest time, all sports were allowed to fight. We just accepted that fighting was in sports. We understood it because these guys are competing against each other. They're banging into each other. They're talking trash to each other, and there's a game involved where you have this competitive rage inside of you, and sometimes you have to let it out. And for the longest time, we understood it as a society. We allowed it to happen. We didn't care. We cheered it on sometimes. We talked about it on Sports Center the next night or the night of, and then we moved on with life. We went on our business. And now every single sport but hockey seems to have been like, no, we don't really want fighting in our sport. It's so juvenile and archaic. Let's just move on from that. Now we're just throwing players away. We're just suspending them. But we still have it in hockey. We still cheered on in hockey. We still see it in hockey. And people say, well, that's just hockey. Like, no, that used to be every sport. Every sport used to have fighting and allow fighting. And I think we need to bring it back. Just throw on some technical fouls or whatever penalty you want to give it. Have the other team take shots and sit the player down that was in the fight. But the other thing I want to say, though, is if we bring fighting back, they need to make it like hockey. The other players need to understand that you just let the two guys duke it out. Nobody else get involved unless you absolutely have to. It's very rare that you see a hockey brawl.
That's a good point because they're gentlemen about it. They're like, let these two fight together. It's usually not bench clearing. It can be more of a gentleman's type fighting. It's not like baseball. Anytime anybody gets like a stare down in baseball, all the bench is clear. Everybody's on the field. Every once in a while, you get a decent fight in baseball. I feel like there's more in baseball than there are in other sports. I'm surprised there's not more in football. Every once in a while, you see a guy punch another guy in the helmet, and you're like, why'd you do that? Like, why would you punch somebody in the helmet? Does that make any sense? But I guess that's their, you do you, helmet punching guy. And in basketball, basketball's gotten a little soft.
A little.
Yeah, I guess that's an understatement. And you talk about the old days. I mean, the Detroit Pistons, the bad boys, they were always going at it. And then you mentioned Larry Bird. Those Celtics with Robert Parrish and Kevin McHale, these guys were brawlers, man. They were always getting in fights. And now, can you think of a team that you're like, oh, that's the bad boy team of the NBA? No, everybody's hugging it out. They're all banana boating it. And you could even see it in this fight. Chris Paul, he's getting in the face of Rondo and supposedly Rondo spit on him, and then he's got his finger poking Rondo in the eye, basically, because he's pointing at him so closely. And Rondo's pushing him back, and then they start swinging on each other. Brandon Ingram thinks that he's a tough guy. He's got to get involved. It was just a total mess, but it was like you could see the passion. You could see the aggression. You could see the sport in it. And nobody got seriously hurt. We don't want anybody to get seriously hurt, but throwing a little jab here and there, it brought in some excitement back to the NBA, and I like seeing that. Now,
you know what else I didn't like and what was a bad image? I don't know if anybody brought it up on any of the sports networks or anything, but I felt like LeBron James holding on to Chris Paul, or CP3, Chris Paul, and they're just like kind of carrying him off the side and coddling him and telling him, you need to calm down and everything. Like, that's a bad look if I'm another LA Laker. Like, your job is to grab Rondo or whoever else is in this fight on your team, and you're supposed to console them and calm them down. You let James Harden worry about Chris Paul. You don't go over there and you coddle the other team while we're in a team-on-team brawl. That's just, to me, that's just a bad look, and I think it just goes back to the softness and the we're all friends like type ordeal where you have the star player of one team coddling the star player of another team in the middle of a fight. It's a bad look.
it is a bad look, but this is the problem, Chris America, and I don't know if you realize this, but once you're a banana boat buddy, you're a banana boat buddy for life. You don't let down your banana boat buddy. I don't care what color your jersey is.
Right.
It so happens that LeBron's is yellow because he's a banana boat buddy, but you do not let down your banana boat buddy. It is banana boats for life. You go all in, ride or die. This is not.
You know what?
So it's a bad look, but it's not a bad look because now you know that banana boat buddies will be going down to the grave. This is it, cradle to grave, banana boat buddies for life.
The LA Lakers contract is a 4-year contract, but the banana boat buddy blood contract is for life.
For life.
Yeah, man, just let these guys fight it out until they fall to the ground and then have the referees jump on top of them and separate them just like they do in hockey and sit them down for 5 minutes. That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need.
All right. Okay. Sure. Now you're just Mr. Cool Guy wanting to bring all the fights back in the NBA.
Wanting to bring the fun back to the NBA.
Oh, man.
Trying to
the
ruin all
NBA is
these...
like the fun police right now. They're like, no, we don't want this in our NBA. We're classy guys. We like this to be a classy sport. Come on, man.
I think if you try to jump in the fight or if you leave the bench, then you should be ejected from the game. Because, again, we want the players to know this isn't the battle royale. This isn't, Hell in the Cell. We want to make it gentlemanly. Have just the two guys that have beef, have them beef it out a little bit, get it out of their system, and then put them on the bench for 5 minutes, like they do in hockey.
I've come up with a good solution. So this is what they should do.
Let's hear
the ref should blow the whistle and call freeze, like when you used to play freeze tag.
Freeze.
Just freeze. Everybody freeze. And he takes the two guys that are look like they're getting ready to get into a fight. Let's say they're staring each other down or they're pushing each other. And they break out like it's the start of Thriller where you take your wrists and you tie them together, and then you have to put in your other hand some sort of shiv or knife or maybe...
Whoa.
Yes.
This took a far left turn.
And then they have to sit there with their wrists connected, just like in Thriller, and they do that dance fighting, and they go back and forth. They don't actually hurt each other, but whoever has the best dance fight...
I think you're thinking of Bad, by the way.
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is totally bad. Thriller's the spooky one. I'm
the
thinking
spooky
of,
one with the
I'm
zombies.
glad you corrected me. It's
because
I'm going to blame this on it being early. I'm going to blame it on my
brain
a
Tuesday.
Being mushy. It's a Tuesday. I mean a Wednesday. I mean, so Michael Jackson's bad in the beginning of that one when they're fighting with the knife fight. That's what the NBA needs to do, and the winner is the one who dances the best and doesn't get cut. Can you adopt that into your rules?
I think.
Okay, I got a second alternative for you.
Okay.
I got a second alternative.
You had me at the freeze, and then I thought you go with the freeze, and then everybody clap your hands.
No. This is not a sock op or a fifth grade dance. This is the real NBA here. We're going.
This
back
isn't
to the real
a wedding
NBA.
where Aunt Carol requested that song for the 5th time.
Yes. Aunt Carol, man, she's got some moves. Anyway, here's the second. This is the second one. So you take Conor McGregor, you hit you freeze tag, and you bring him in, and he has to fight each one of the guys, and then they have to fight each other. Now, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Sorry.
I thought maybe you were just bringing in Connor to do like a 3-point contest since this guy loves to cross over to different sports.
I bet he could win. I put money on it. You want to do a bet on it? Romper bet?
Romper bet?
Conor McGregor?
You already owe a romper bet.
I know. I'm working on it. I was going to do it. I'm going to do it tonight. Romper bet.
All right.
You know what tonight is? Chris America, I can't believe it. You thought it was Tuesday. It's not Tuesday. What's on Wednesday nights?
Wednesday nights is Scout Team After Dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I got a couple other little NBA nuggets. The Denver Nuggets beat the Kings last night. See how I segued into that?
Are they 4-0 now?
So last night was the battle of the unbeatens, and all the unbeaten teams coming out with big wins. Nuggets beat the Kings. They are 4-0. They are hot, too, man. They look so good. They're going to be the surprise team out of the West this year. I think every year there's like there's always going to be your Golden State Warriors and your Houston Rockets, but there's always a team that surprises you. Like I felt like last year the Pelicans were that team. And this year I think it's going to be the Nuggets where they creep in and they're going to be like that third seed and you're like, wow, this team is really, really good. And we're going to see what the Nuggets can do. But great game last night for the Nuggets. They beat the Kings 126-112. Also playing last night, Pelicans. Another team that last year I thought was sneaky good, even without DeMarcus Cousins. This year they don't have him at all. Not just injured half the year, but like at all. And they're still killing it out there. And the Pelicans win 116-109 against the Clippers. They moved to 3-0, so they're undefeated. And the last game last night, there was 3 NBA games. And this one, I think, had a little bit more excitement to it. And you talked about making the NBA fun again and making it exciting. The Pistons, they go into overtime, and they defeat the 76ers. But there's a little bit of fun with this one. One, Blake Griffin scores 50 points for the first time in his career. Are we making Blake Griffin a superstar again? Is Detroit going to make Blake Griffin a superstar again? I think so. I think this is his resurrection. He's going to bring his career back in Detroit because I feel like it fell off the last couple years. He got a little bit soft. I don't know. Do you think Blake Griffin can be a superstar, a number one guy, and carry this Detroit Pistons?
In the East, yeah, for sure. I don't see why not. He doesn't really have much to go against. If you look at his schedule, he's played a LeBron James-less Cleveland, a Brooklyn Nets, the Chicago Bulls, who are 0-3, and then last night, which was his first real test, was against the Philadelphia 76ers, and he carried them in overtime. So there's no doubt he can rise up, throw up some really good stats, and lead this Detroit team to, a top 4 or 5 seed in the East.
Yeah, I mean, it helps that the East is not that good, so that definitely helps him out.
I mean, I'm sure he likes where he's at now and the teams he's playing now compared to when he was with L.A.
Yeah, this is good. Now, I am a little disappointed that Detroit is looking so good so early because this is their first year without our man, Stan Van Gundy. I love me some Stan Van Gundy, and I thought he would bring success to this organization. Without SVG, it looks like they're still going to be good. It's going to be interesting to see that now.
I mean, Loudbeard, you heard the schedule I gave for Detroit, right?
Yeah, I know.
Well,
yeah,
no, hold on. Here's the Clippers. Here's what he would have faced. He would have faced your 4-0 Denver Nuggets. Then he would have played Oklahoma City, which is surprisingly 0-3. And you mentioned that yesterday, and we kind of brushed over that. Maybe we need to go a little bit more into that. Then he had the the Clippers did. The Clippers had the Houston Rockets, and then the undefeated New Orleans Pelicans. So that's a bit of a difference between who the Pistons played and who the Clippers played. I'm sure he's liking his first 4 games with Detroit as opposed to what he would have had to go against as a Clipper.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I see where you're going with this. So I want to dive a little bit deeper into this 76ers matchup with the Pistons, and I do want to talk a little bit about these Oklahoma City Thunder that are struggling. But we can do all of that when we come back from a quick commercial break.
Also,
what?
The New York Giants trade Eli?
When I'm working hard, I build up a thirst for sports. That's when I grab a cold 12-ounce sports radio. Ah, 12-ounce sports radio. Quench your sports thirst.
Oh, guess who it is? Did you know the station had a janitor? Oh, yeah, the Hefe, otherwise known as Beck. And it's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio every Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Catch interviews, special guests, and the recap of the week's news and headlines and box scores and results. It's Beck's Work Week in Review live on 12-Ounce Sports Radio.
Scout Team listeners and friends of the show, I've got something special for you. It looks like 12-Ounce Sports Radio has done it again. We have partnered with Rally House. You just go to the website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner on the right side of the page, and it will take you directly to Rally House. Rally House has some of the greatest, most unique sports items for that diehard fan, casual fan, and anybody and everybody out there that is special in your life. So go ahead and check it out. Once again, go to that website, 12ozsportsradio.com. Click on the banner to the right of the page, and you will get taken to the best sports merchandise website on all of the interweb. Do you own a small business? Are you looking for solutions to all of your communications, problems, and challenges that you have? Check out Ring Central. Give them a call. They have partnered with 12OunceSportsRadio.com to give you the best rates on all of your business and office solutions for communication. Give them a call today. We have a dedicated line for all of the 12-Ounce Sports Radio listeners. It is 1-877-779-3860. You will get a representative on the phone who will help you with all of your small business communications needs. Once again, give them a call today, 1-877-779-3860. All right, welcome back. You are listening to Scout Team Sports. We are the Scout Team. He's Chris America. I'm Loudbeard. We come at you live Monday through Friday on 12OunceSportsRadio.com. And if you ever want to hit up any of our old episodes, or if you had an opportunity not to listen to us yesterday or the day before, then you can go on our website, ScoutTeamRadio.com, and listen to all the old episodes. Or if you are a podcaster, you can go on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, or any podcasts out there, any of the servers, and we are out there. Just search Scout Team Radio. And if you want to get social with the Scout Team, you can hit us up on Twitter at Scout Team Radio, on Facebook, or on Instagram. That's Scout Team Radio. All right, we are hitting it hard here on this Wednesday. It's a wacky Wednesday. We are saying crazy stuff like we always like to say. And this is just, it's going to be a great day, Chris America. Are you going to have a great Wednesday today, sir?
Yeah, I think so. The weather's still nice in Orlando. I think it's going to be a high of like 82 or 83. A little warmer than I'd like it in October, but, you know, still going to be good. It's not 90s. That's all I just keep telling myself. It's not 90s.
So I think we're going to throw off our Wednesday a little bit here. Usually on Mondays, we like to do a motivational Monday. We do coaches speak. But you have a great quote from a great Los Angeles Laker player. And I think this is going to be our motivational Wednesday today, or Wednesday wisdom, as sometimes I see on Twitter. It's a hashtag. We come up with hashtags for everything. But the great Rajon Rondo, he comes out and he has some wisdom to speak of about Chris Paul. Do you have that Wednesday wisdom quote ready, Chris America?
Yep, Rajon Rondo said, "Everyone wants to believe that Chris Paul is a good guy. They don't know he's a horrible teammate. They don't know how he treats people."
Wow,
Hashtag.
that's a really good Rajon Rondo impersonation.
It is. It sounds just like him.
I mean, that was spot on. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
lots of stones being thrown in a glass house, if you ask me, Loudbeard, coming from Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, this guy, he's always in the spotlight. He's been kind of a bad teammate, especially when he was younger, but he had like Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce when he was on that Celtics team, and they were like those mature veterans that kind of kept him in check. But then he kind of bounced around the league. He had a bad spout with the Dallas Mavericks where he just kind of gave up. He played out for the Kings for a while. Nobody's really letting this guy stick around for very long because he's kind of toxic. He can be cancerous in the locker room, and he seems like he's always causing problems. For a guy like that to throw shade on Chris Paul, I don't know that we can put a whole lot of weight onto his opinion on that. Now, I do think Chris Paul's one of those sneaky, dirty guys where, like, you think he's like a nice guy. He seems like he does those Chris commercials where he's like an Allstate agent. And you're like, oh, look, he's wearing glasses. He looks like a nice guy. And I think in real life, like, I think he's one of the, mean trash talkers on the court. And I think he's probably not as good of a guy as we think he is. But I don't want to hear it from Rondo. I don't want to hear it from that guy because Rondo himself is just not the guy you want to be hearing. Like, he can't be calling other guys not good guys because he's not a good guy. Like,
right.
I guess he can tell, like, he can smell out his own, He's like...
And maybe if he would have added that little bit to it, if he would have said, like, listen, I'm a terrible teammate, so you know other terrible teammates when you see them, and, Chris Paul is it. But we've never heard other teammates call him a bad teammate, have we? I don't recall any time where Blake Griffin or even, you won't hear it from Doc, but...
Yeah, DeAndre Jordan, J.J. Redick was out there with the Clippers. You didn't hear him saying, like, I need to go to Philly because I hate Chris Paul. I mean, I think if anything,
you never heard
they
Doc
were
say
upset
we
when
need
he
to
left.
ship out. Yeah, we didn't hear anybody say we shipped out Chris Paul because he was a cancer to the locker room. We've heard that about Rajon Rondo, though.
A lot. It was all the time with Rajon Rondo. Now, we're talking about Chris Paul being a not good guy and talking a lot of trash. There's another guy, and I don't know if I'd put him in the not good guy category, but he's definitely in the trash talking category. And I mentioned about how Blake Griffin had this great 50-point outing and the Pistons won. But the 76ers, Joel Embiid, this guy's always getting a little publicity for things that he's saying. He's very outlandish. And after the game last night, he talked about how he was living in Andre Drummond's head. And when you go back and look at the game, he put on a great performance, 33 points. He owned Andre Drummond. And the other thing that happened is Drummond ended up getting a second technical, getting kicked out of this game, and it was because Joel Embiid flopped. So it was a technical called on him, and Embiid played it up, and afterwards he said, I own real estate in Andre Drummond's head, and he knew it, and I don't like the flop, but I like the gamesmanship of talking trash the whole game and getting the guy kicked out, and then afterwards just saying, hey, I owned you. Though it would have been a little bit better if the 76ers would have won.
Yeah. I was gonna say
that in itself probably took away a little bit of the excitement from it.
Right.
But
it's kind of like, you won the battle, but we won the war.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, obviously Blake Griffin is the guy that owned last night. I think he had the real estate in the 76ers head. All tied up, man. Blake Griffin had a great night, but I like what Embiid's doing. Last night, Ben Simmons was out. He had some back soreness, back tightness. So Embiid had to carry a lot more of the weight, and I think the Sixers don't have the depth that they need to really win some of these big games, and especially if a guy like Ben Simmons is out. They just don't have the firepower to hang. So Embiid's got to do everything he can to make, I guess to make a bigger impact on the game, and if it's talking trash and getting into the head of the opponents, that's bringing back the good NBA that we remember. We always remembered the good trash talkers, the good enforcers, the guys that were just out there and they're brutal. And last night, I think Embiid had one of those games where he owned Andre Drummond.
Yeah, and that's what it's got to come down to, is since they can't fight, they have to come down to trash talking and flopping, and this is just kind of the NBA that we live in, so... if you're done with the NBA talk, Loudbeard, I think you mentioned since it's October, that there's a possible curse going on out there. What did you talk about in the pregame show?
Well, it is spooky season, Chris America, and in spooky season, we like to talk about witchings and curses, and we like to talk about things being haunted. And there is one city in the United States, especially a football city, that is more haunted and more cursed than any other city in the entire United States, and that would be the great city of Cleveland. The NFL comes out, and they announce that they possibly could have missed a call in the fourth quarter of this Cleveland Browns game. And it was a hit on Baker Mayfield. It was a spooky hit on Baker Mayfield by Jordan Whitehead, and it should have been penalized. The NFL has come out and said this should have been a penalty. But if there is any team that is cursed, if there's any team that is haunted, it would be the Cleveland Browns. It seems like every week we are coming back and talking about how the refs have missed another call, how the Browns got screwed again, how they are just destined to be terrible. And I think the NFL has a haunting problem, a cursed problem, a something problem over in Cleveland. What do you think, Chris America?
Loudbeard, I think the scariest thing about all of this is that they have a head coach who makes the spookiest of calls. The let's kick a field goal instead of go for it on 4th and inches. The let's try to go for the tie instead of and take it into overtime instead of trying to win in regulation. The let's keep a guy who is 3-35-1 who has a .090 winning percentage. That is who we're going to keep around. And there seems to be no end in sight to the Hugh Jackson nightmare.
Ooh, that is a nightmare. The Cleveland Browns nightmare. Do you think any other coach in the NFL would even want to take on this haunted mansion known as the Cleveland Browns? I don't think there's a single coach that would want to step into this haunted, cursed NFL team. So Hugh Jackson is the best they get. It's the only thing they get because the nightmare continues.
And as the nightmare lingers on, we have a star wide receiver who has a troubled past, but we've stuck through him. And then when he's ready to play, when he's ready to make the field, they trade him. And then they bring in Ohio State's own, one of the top running backs they've ever had, especially in the last 10 years. He's Ezekiel Elliott Light for Ohio State. Clyde, or what was his name? Clyde?
Carlos Hyde.
Carlos Hyde.
So you combined the first letter of his first name with his last name. So Clyde. I think your
dude, we're trying to be
haunted.
we're trying to be serious, all right? Carlos Hyde. He gets traded away to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, man, it's Listen,
It's
Clyde the
spooky
ghost.
season.
Clyde is a ghost from Pac-Man, and ghosts are spooky, and we're talking about spooky things, so there's my out.
I'm telling you, man, I actually feel bad for the city of Cleveland. When you see these reports, the NFL missed a call for Cleveland again. I think this has been the third time this year where they've come out like the next day and said, yeah, by the way, we really screwed this one up. Sorry, Cleveland. I don't remember this happening with any other teams this year. It's only been on the Cleveland Browns. I feel like this almost could be a conspiracy theory segment. Well, we're going to keep our aluminum hats off today. I don't think I can go that far, but...
Hold on, Loudbeard.
Oh, no.
I'm looking at something here. I figured out why Hugh Jackson is the way Hugh Jackson is. These are all the coaches that Hugh Jackson served under in his career before coming over to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. Let me know, Loudbeard, if you think this coaching tree of coaches he served under speaks volumes to you. We have two of your coaches, Marty Schottenheimer in 2001. Does that seem like somebody you would want
Yes.
to have as an influence on your head coach?
Yes.
Steve Spurrier, Washington Redskins, 2002 to 2003.
Yes, and yes.
Marvin Lewis, Cincinnati Bengals, probably explains all of the conservative play calling and the going for ties.
Yes.
Bobby Petrino, Atlanta Falcons, 2007. Does that seem
I forgot
like...
about that hot mess. Didn't he just walk away and never come back?
Yes. And I think Cleveland Brown fans are hoping Hugh Jackson would do the same. I don't know who this is, but it was Emmett Thomas, who was the interim coach after Bobby Petrino walked away.
Okay. Hey, he's had a good career afterwards.
Now, here's the only solid name that he's worked under, and that's John Harbaugh, Baltimore Ravens. But that wasn't John Super Bowl champion coach Harbaugh yet. That was John, I'm trying to figure things out, Harbaugh, Baltimore Ravens, 2008 to 2009.
That was the John Harbaugh. Do I really want to draft a guy from Delaware?
Do I?
Don't
I?
Should I?
And then finally, Tom Cable of the Oakland Raiders. That was his final coach that he tutelaged under before taking over in 2011 and going 8-8 for the Oakland
mad props
Raiders.
to the word tutelage.
Tutelage.
I like it.
So, yeah, man, that is the nightmare that Cleveland Browns fans are living and have been living. I honestly think it's kind of like they were in a relationship with somebody, then they broke up and left, and then they just took them back, and now they're just like, we don't want to go through the whole divorce thing again, so we'll just write this thing out.
All right. I'm with you, man. At the end of this year, there's no way Hugh Jackson still has a job. There's just no way. I like the guy. I thought he was going to do more. I'm actually disappointed with how he has coached this team. And I know all the Cleveland Browns fans that we know all want him gone. I think they let this year ride out. And actually, it might not be a bad coaching gig for somebody because there is a lot of talent on the team. You have promise in Baker Mayfield. You have some good wide receivers, Jarvis Landry being, to me, a Pro Bowl caliber wide receiver. Now you have some question marks at running back, but Nick Chubb looks like he could be a potential superstar. So if he develops into what we've seen from him so far this season and he just continues to grow on that, then all of a sudden you've got a really good offense and your defense is already solid. You're a top 10 defense in the NFL already. So I would think that this would be a coaching job that somebody would want because you know the expectations. I mean, I guess the expectations are high, but you know if you go 0-16, it's not like they're like, oh, we're going to fire you because we didn't fire the last guy. But if you go 1-15 the following season, yeah, you know what? You're still safe. You're still safe. So you really got a good 3 to 7 years before the Browns even realize that they're bad if you're a bad coach. I mean, there's a guarantee in there. Like that, they might even bring over Gruden for 25 years at $500 million. Who knows? They don't care.
When your head coach has a head coaching record of 11-43-1, and 8 of those wins came from another team, it's time to move on. Like you said, Hugh Jackson's a great guy. I'm sure you would love to have him, coaching your son. You would love to have a beer with him. You'd have him over for Thanksgiving dinner. But I don't know that I want an 11-43-1 coach and somebody who's 3-35-1 with my team after 3 or 2.5 seasons. I don't know if I want that guy coaching my football team.
The answer would be no.
No.
Absolutely not. 100% no. There's no discussion. You don't want that guy. It's just like Chad Kelly. You don't want him being the quarterback of your team. Just no.
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 Well,
absolutely no.
Let's move on from the Browns, and we'll talk a little bit of New York Giants. I teased in the break that the New York Giants finally did it. They traded Eli. They listened to Scout Team Sports yesterday. They heard about how, the Giants should be interested in David Carr. Maybe they should ship Eli down to the the Jacksonville Jaguars. And instead they don't listen to any of that. They ship Eli to the New Orleans Saints. Loudbeard, what is your take on the New York Giants listening to Scout Team Radio and sending Eli over to the New Orleans Saints?
That's an interesting development. I mean, Eli...
Did you see, when you woke up yesterday morning, did you see Eli being traded from the Giants to the New Orleans Saints, especially with Drew Brees there?
I would have never called it. Never once would I have thought Eli would have got traded to the Saints. that wasn't even on my radar.
Well, Eli is gone. He's no longer with the New York Giants, and now the New York Giants look to the future and see how they can move forward without Eli on their team.
Yeah, I mean, Eli was a great cornerback. Quarterback?
Yeah, cornerback.
Quarterback. And you know, he did a lot for this team. I mean, when you're a great cornerback,
Drafted in the first round.
Yes, drafted in the first round by the Giants.
Yep.
Hometown guy. You know, everybody loves him. He's been around forever, and now he's on the Saints. He's a great cornerback.
Great cornerback. And as a cornerback, I think he'll do good for the Saints. The Saints have been needing a cornerback. They need some help over there at their cornerback position, and they got it with Eli.
Yeah. Good luck to the Saints. They get a guy. He's got a good pedigree. He's been a solid player for the New York Giants. That relationship seemed like it was destined to come to an end.
Yeah.
And
I don't think the Giants fans appreciated what they had in Eli. I don't know if they'll ever appreciate what they had in Eli, but maybe the New Orleans Saints fans can adopt Eli as their own, take him under their wing, especially with how the season ended for the Saints last year, where their cornerback let them down. So, yeah, good move by the Saints, I think. I think it's a solid move by the Saints. It makes me nervous as a Carolina Panthers fan. The Saints are already the leading team in the division. They look like they can be a little bit unstoppable at times. So I'm kind of hoping that my Carolina Panthers and Cam Newton can compete against Eli and beat Eli, in a head-to-head match.
I hope so. I mean, it's in your division that it's rough. The Saints are just packing on the talent. Eli was a big acquisition for the Saints.
He was. And now that Eli's gone, I feel like maybe New York didn't take advantage. They're the Big Apple. They had Eli Apple, and I felt like there should have been more play on that. As a dad joke connoisseur, I feel like the Big Apple, Eli Apple thing should have been more of a thing.
I don't know why it wasn't. Maybe because he was never a big name in the Big Apple. I don't think the Giants ever gave him the credit. They like the quarterbacks. They like the running backs.
Yeah.
The cornerbacks? No. I mean, if he was in Green Bay, they call him the Big Cheese because they love cornerbacks in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't want to be cheesy like us. Dad jokes.
In the middle of Lozile. All right. Well, anything left on the slate there, Loudbeard, with the last 3 minutes? I feel like we're fading.
We are fading.
Eli'd it out. We Eli'd it out. Time to bring it up. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. Time to bring it home.
Yep, it is. I've mentioned that Chad Kelly's story. Broncos, Chad Kelly arrested, charged with first-degree criminal trespassing. If you are a quarterback in the NFL, should you be arrested for first-degree criminal trespassing? Like, should that be a thing?
It shouldn't be a thing. And, I mean, what's his name? Now I can't think of it. John Elway. He's having a hard time figuring out this whole quarterback situation. When Peyton Manning fell into his lap, it was an easy decision. It was the easiest decision he's ever had to make as a GM or as a president or whatever title he has over there. And now,
I call him Superman.
Yeah, ever since Peyton's left, it's been one bad decision at quarterback after another. Now, he seems to kind of have it in Case Keenum. It's obviously no home run hit like getting Peyton Manning, but there's obviously not another Peyton Manning out there that's just going to fall into his lap again. So far, Case Keenum is the best move he's ever made outside of Peyton Manning falling into his lap. And all the other guys haven't been one, and now it looks like Chad Kelly's going to be his worst one yet. This falls on John Elway. They had to have known. They had to have seen signs of something. You don't just go out and accidentally get so stone drunk or whatever he was on to where he's just sitting down, going into someone's house at 1 o'clock in the morning and sitting down and just, I don't know, what are we watching, The Walking Dead? What's going on here? What's going on? Is he trying to Netflix and chill with these people? Like, what's going on?
This whole thing is kind of weird. There was a rumor or a report from a scandalous tabloid saying that Von Miller that Monday night had a party at his house. It was a Halloween party that was a cocaine-themed party for players only. And afterwards is when Chad Kelly got arrested. So you put 2 and 2 together, I'll put 3 and 3 together, and together we might make something that makes a story that could be scandalous. And I like it. Not the fact that he did this or the fact that it's a story, but I like that we're going crazy and just talking about whatever we want to talk about.
Now that you mention it, Loudbeard, if it's not a cocaine Halloween party, is it a Halloween party at all?
No, it isn't. I mean, that's bringing it in. I mean, it's like you're like, wow, it's fall, and now it's snowing.
Mm-hmm. You're just combining the 2 seasons.
Yes.
Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. We're out.
We're out.
I was waiting for the intro.
I wasn't
Or
quite
the
ready.
outro. Sorry, the outro.
Who'd you call outro? Outro?
I don't know. I think we need to drink some coffee, maybe take a little of that booger sugar, and come back with more energy tomorrow.
Hey, keep that to yourself.